All right, welcome back. We haven't had a few videos in a couple sections, but we're going to get back into it. So today we're going to be talking about 4.3 systems of linear equations. Okay, there should be an S there. I don't know why there's not an S there. Linear equations, and we're talking about word problems. Okay, now before we get into word problems, we're going to be talking about a little review on kind of solving for y. So we have our equations in slope-intercept form. In that case, we will be able to either graph on a graph physically, or we're able to plug those equations into a calculator and calculate the solution that way. So let's look at number one. So number one says 3y equals 9x minus 6. Okay, so I want to get y. In the end, I want to get something y equals. Now, the only thing that's on the same side as y is that 3. So on that left side, I have a 3. I want to get over to the right side. So how am I going to do that? What's that 3 doing to the y? It's multiplying. So to undo that, you're going to divide by 3. Okay, now what you do to one part, you have to do to every part in your equation. Then you're going to go ahead and simplify. 3 divided by 3 is 1y, or just y. 3x divided by 3 is just 3x. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Excuse me. So then my equation is simply y equals 3x minus 2. Okay, cool. Let's go through one more example, then the third one's going to be on you. Okay, so now this next equation, I have y equals 3x, y minus 3x equals 4. Excuse me. So now if I want to separate this into two sides, I'm going to have my left side and my right side. Now in this case, what do I have? Okay, I have this a minus, a 3, and an x all on that left side. I need to get rid of it. Now this 3x can travel together, right? Because I don't really need to break it up because I need to just move both of them at once. So how am I going to move that to the right side is to do the opposite operation. So if I'm subtracting 3x, the opposite operation is to add 3x. So I'm going to add 3x both sides. And then I'm going to be left with y equals negative 3x, positive 3x cancel out, and I'm left with 3x plus 4. That's my equation. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try number 3. Once you go through and solve for y for number 3, I want you to move on to the next problem. Just pause the video. Thank you. All right, so now when we're talking about systems of linear equations, we need to talk about when we're going to apply them. So we're going to start with some easy word problems, and then you are going to get into a little bit more difficult word problems. So we went through solving linear word problems to begin with a couple weeks ago, and you guys did great with it. So we're going to do the same thing, but now you're not only going to write one equation, you're going to write two equations. Okay, and then you're going to solve the solution for those two equations by either calculator or graphing. Okay, good. So now, if you don't have a highlighter, you might want to grab a highlighter. So I'm just going to highlight key words, and I should have them bolded. So let's read this. So it says, find the value of two numbers if their sum is 12, okay, that's important, 12, and their difference is 4. Okay, now the first thing I want to do, is define my variables. Okay, so I have a list of things that I am going to list. So I want to define my variables. So it's what don't I know? What don't I know? Well, I don't know what these two numbers are, but I know how I could get them. Right? It's giving me operations on how to get them. So I have a first number and I have a second number. So I'm just going to list x as my first number, and I'm going to list y as my second number. Now I'm going to have those two letters as my variable. So I'm going to go ahead and change that color so we have red and green. Good. Now once I define those variables, I'm going to go ahead and write these equations. So I'm going to say x is going to be my first number. So it says the value of two numbers, so I have the first number and the second number, their sum is 12. So the sum of the first number, the sum of the second number is 12. So how can I write that? Well, I know that the sum means to add. Okay, so I have two numbers, x and y, and I know that their sum is 12. Okay, so how can I write the sum is 12? Well, is, we know, means what? Equals. Okay, the value of 12 right there. So I have one number plus the second number equals 12. So that's my first equation. Okay, so that's going to be my first equation. So it's going to be x plus y equals 12. Awesome. So now I'm going to try to write my second equation. Why don't I color code this, Mr. Green? Here we go. Let's make that green. Is that the right green? There we go. And that's close to it though. Alright, so that's green. So now I'm going to write my second equation in red. Okay, so now it says, okay, it has a separation. Their difference. So these two numbers, the difference. So what does difference mean? Different means subtraction, right? So the difference of these two numbers is 4. So I say, okay, I have my x, I have my y. Their difference equals 4. Okay, is means equals, the value of 4 is the total. So I could write as x minus y equals what? 12. Okay, so now I have these two equations. Okay, so I'm going to kind of move these equations just so I can write. Now, there's a method that's a little bit easier to solve these in this instance. But for right now, we are going to go ahead and isolate and solve for y. So you could go ahead and use a graphing calculator or to graph. Excuse me. So if I have x plus y equals 12, I want to solve that for y. So in this case, I have y right here. The only other thing is my x on that side. How am I going to get rid of that? I'm going to subtract both sides by x. I'm going to have y equals 12 minus x. So that's one equation I'm going to go ahead and graph. Now my second equation, okay, same thing. I want to subtract x. Now I'm going to have negative y equals negative x plus 12, right? I just reversed that. That's fine. Good. Now, do I care about what negative y equals? No, I really just care what y equals. So what am I going to do? I'm going to divide everything by that negative 1. So I get that positive. And I'm going to have y is equal to negative divided by negative is just x minus 12. Okay? So now I have these two equations. Okay? Now, that almost looks, there's a mistake. Mr. Green, what are you doing? This isn't 12, Mr. Green. That is a 4. So that just means that that's going to be a 4. Which means that's going to be a 4. My apologies. Okay, so this is going to be a negative 4. Okay, so now when I go ahead and put these into the calculator, I'm going to get a solution. And the answer I get is my x value is 8 and my y value is 4. So what you're going to say is my solution is the ordered pair 8, 4. Okay, so that's my solution. Now, to write a sentence about this, all I'm going to talk about is what the two numbers. So I would say the first number is 8, and the second number is 4. That's my answer. Okay? Awesome. All right, let's try one more example. And then the third one is going to be a challenging problem, but you should be okay with it. All right, so now we're talking about a restaurant. Now, at a restaurant, the cost for a breakfast taco and a small glass of milk is $2.10. The cost for two tacos and 3 small glasses of milk costs $5.15. What is the cost of a taco, and what is the cost of a glass of milk? Okay, so first things first, what is the question asking you? And when you see what the question is asking you, that's what's going to define your variables. What is the cost of a taco? What is the cost of a glass of milk? So you want to define those two variables. So I'm going to say, okay, the cost of milk is going to be my x. So cost of taco. Cost of a taco. Okay. So that's my x. My y is going to be cost of milk, or a glass of milk. Okay, awesome. So now this is going to be a little bit different, but we're going to set our equation up in a similar fashion. So let's go back to the first sentence. That first sentence is going to give us one equation. So it says 1 breakfast taco or egg breakfast taco, a small glass of milk, is $2.10. So I'm saying 1 breakfast taco, so that's the cost of 1. So that, I could say that that's going to be x, right? Because the cost is x. Okay. X. Awesome. And remember, and could also mean plus a small glass of milk. So a small glass of milk. So the cost of 1 glass of milk is y. Is means equals $2.10. Okay. So now I just wrote out one equation. So my first equation is going to be x plus y equals $2.10. Okay, awesome. Now I'm going to write my second equation. Let's write it off to the side so it's easier, so I don't have to move anything. So I'm going to say, okay, my second line is going to be, get my highlighter, so the cost of 2 tacos and the cost of three glasses of milk, okay, cost $5.15. So now, let's rewrite that. So 2 tacos. Okay, well, the cost of 2 tacos is x. So if I want to say 2 tacos, I'm going to say how many x's? I'm going to say 2 x's, right? And means plus. So let me write it above here so it's easier. So I have 2x plus 3 glasses of milk. What's glass of milk equal y? So it's going to be 3y. Cost, if you say cost, that means equals $5.15. So I have my equation there. 2x plus 3y equals 5.15. So it's going to be 2x plus 3y equals 5.15. Okay, awesome. So now when I go ahead and put these in the calculator, I need to solve for y first. So let's look at my first equation. My first equation, if I'm going to solve for y, I need to move that x and move that x by subtracting from both sides. I'm going to have y equals negative x plus $2.10. So that's one equation I'm going to go ahead and graph. And my second equation is going to be, that looks like, let me change my color. Okay, good. Now this one I have to move a couple items. I need to move the 2x and I need to move that 3. Okay? So talk about my left side, talk about my right side. So I need to move that 2x first by subtracting 2x. Then I'm going to have 3y equals negative 2x plus 5.15. Right there. Okay, 5.15. Okay, I'm going to kind of move that over so we have a little bit of justice here so we could see. Okay, good. Now, when I go ahead and here we go. Does that look a little bit better? Probably not. Let me try to erase that and draw another 5. Okay, so now I have that 1, 3. I need to get rid of that 3 by dividing. Divide everything by 3. Now this one's a little messy. It's not going to come out too clean, but you're going to round. So it's going to be y equals negative 2/3 x. Now if you want to divide this out, you can. Just don't divide out the slope, because the slope is easier to put in your calculator as a fraction. But you can divide out the y-intercept, that's fine. So if I have 515 divided by 3, it's going to come out to a decimal that looks like 1.716666666, and goes on and on and on. So if you just want to round that to the nearest hundredth, so it's going to be 1.72. Okay, so when you go ahead and plug both of those into the calculator, you're going to get a solution. You're going to get a solution of x equals 1.14 and y equals 0.96. So the ordered pair of 1.14 comma 0.96. Now remember what this is actually talking about. This is talking about what? Cost. Cost. So these are actually dollar amounts. So that's $1.14, and that's actually 96 cents. So now when I go ahead and write a sentence, I'm going to write just that. Okay, the cost of a taco is, which one was a taco? X equals $1.49. The cost of a taco is $1.14. The cost of a glass of milk is, what's the cost of a glass of milk? Y equals 96 cents. Okay, so that is going to be our sentence and our solution, and we just applied our knowledge to that matter. Awesome. All right, so I went through those 2 examples. You're going to do the same thing for the 3rd example. I'm going to let you try on your own, and then you have a couple of practice problems. Okay, it's important. Okay, it's important to just identify your variables. So I'm just going to read you the question. I'm going to identify your variables, then I'm going to let you go. So it says, D is selling tickets for the school soccer game. On the first day of ticket sales, the school sold 3 student tickets and 1 adult ticket for $38. On the second day of ticket sales, the school sold 3 student tickets and 1 adult ticket for $52. What is the question asking you? Find the price of 1 student ticket and 1 adult ticket. So if you want to go ahead and identify your x and y, I'm going to say x is what? X is going to be price. Make sure you write that. Price of what type of ticket? Student ticket. And my y is going to be price of what type of ticket? Of adult ticket. Okay, make sure you go ahead and set up your proper equations using the specific words we worked on. All right, good luck.